So somebody was giving me a message for YK. It says that in Benin Republic and other French countries, the burden of proof is on the offender. Once you are arrested, you are guilty. So you have to prove yourself. In Nigeria, you are innocent to proving guilty, like other English-speaking countries. So that's why you run away. You don't get arrested, because once you get arrested, you're already guilty, according to the Benin Republic. But we have to move on. Thanks for staying with us now. I'm giving you a message. You can't answer because it's a message from a different person. Anyways, right now, we're going to be having with us on the show Honorable Benjamin Kalu. He's a spokesman, House of Representatives, discussing the issue, the fact that the reps had sent a message to the NNPCL that they must stop and give them a 7-day ultimatum to stop these fuel scarcity we are having in the country. So we are going to speak to one of the members of the reps to see where that came from. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Good to have you on the show. So we've heard different versions on why this scarcity persists from the NNPCL, from IPMA, from different regards. Now, the National Assembly has given them a 7-day ultimatum. Let me ask you first, what are you hearing? What do you think exactly is the cause? And why do you think 7 days is enough to fix it? Hello, sir?
Hello.
Yes, did you get the question?
Your line is breaking. I think I heard you say something about the 7 days.
Ultimatum.
I would think the 7 days is enough.
Yes.
And what is the cause of the scarcity?
Yes.
Yeah. First of all, thank you, Nigerians, for tuning in, and thank you for having me. As a parliament, we were set up as an arm of government to make sure that we check the excesses of various arms of government, and in doing that, protect the interests of the citizens of this country, ensuring that at all times that the interests of Nigerians were protected. In this artificial petroleum product scarcity and the way it has lingered for quite some time, we do not think that the interests of Nigerians are to be protected. And the onus lies on us as the People's Parliament to take legislative steps towards resolving that. And that was what we did yesterday through the voice of our Honorable Member Saidu Abdullahi from Niger State, who titled his motion, Urgent Need for the Government to End the Current Fuel Scarcity. Since the private sector could not handle it, since the Marketers Union Association have not been able to handle it, since all we have heard has been excuses from one agency to the other, you may recall that one of the excuses given was Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority claiming that at the peak of the rainy season, that the issue was the rainfall that submerged Lokoja corridor, including the highways. And they said this was what restricted vehicular movement around that corridor.
Really?
Post-flood and the rain, another excuse came justifying the scarcity by the same, by President of Petroleum Marketers Association, IPMAN, who claimed that it was a supply gap. So it was no longer the rain, it was a supply gap now created by a blockage at the same Lokoja. And but there is one thing that the President of IPMAN did, which was justifying, and clearing the government when he stated that there was availability of products in the various depots. So which means government played their part to make sure that we had available products in all the depots. So what then is the issue about the lingering scarcity? According to him, he said, break in supply of products. So the first one is flood. The second one is supply gap. The third one is break in supply. So whether you call it break in supply, whether you call it supply gap, whether you blame it on flood, the issue remains that Nigerians are suffering from the...
But Honorable, I need to ask a follow-up to that, because what we are hearing, that the real factor is the costs. And that's what's causing the distribution delay we are getting, because the federal government is insisting on the 165 or 168 to the liter, and they're saying that They can't afford at that price. It has to be at least 200 and something, I think 260 or 230. They have to sell. They have to pay. That's what they have. That's the issue we're having. That's the news we have here. So the factors you just called out, in fact, it's foreign to me. I'm hearing that for the first time. But if it's a cost issue, how do you expect that 7 days we'll be able to reverse this?
And apart from that, if they don't comply in 7 days, what's the punishment? You are just issuing the 7 days and there's no consequence.
Well, let me go back to what I was saying before the interjection. We have security agencies in this country, and their job is to make sure that they supply us intelligence reports. If you may recall, recently the intelligence report was that there was available product and that they were given 48 days to end this scarcity. And if you check the whole petrol station, there was an improvement after that ultimatum was given by DSS. So the issue is not just the price.
Hello?
And I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Yeah, increasing from 179 to 300. Occasions, the consequences is much on Nigeria. And we cannot sit back and say, after spending trillions on subsidy, we just sit down and say, no, we have not spent enough. And based on that, they can increase prices, even if it is affecting the economic situation in Nigeria. So we have done what we are supposed to do to give them ultimatum as those allowed by the Constitution in checking inefficiency of government agencies in the exercise of their duties. And if they fail to do that, like you asked, what will happen? We will now call them in. We will now take our oversight to the next level, because we believe in the intelligence report that has been supplied by the Department of Secret Service. We believe in that. And we will work with that to make sure that those who are supposed to control this, they are exposed and the right punishment measured, given out to them. So it's not like a call out that will just die down once we finish calling out and nothing happens. Nigerians should watch and see what happens in 7 days if this is not reversed. Right. The House is feeling the impact that this is having on our economy. The prices of consumer goods is increasing because of this petroleum product, because there is hardly a consumer product that does not rely on the petroleum product for its supply to take place. In the supply chain, you need a petroleum product.
Right.
So we cannot allow this to keep lingering. There are people in charge, and we are going to call them in if in 7 days this does not reverse.
All right.
Honorable sir, this morning, IPMAN responded that, they have to take products from the private depots in Lagos and some other private depots. I don't know, others, but I know the one in Ijegun, that they have to carry PMS from those depots at 200 naira per litre, and that they cannot get to the filling stations and still sell at that amount. NNPC, in response, says that they will do a price slash from those private depots as well to ensure that IPMAN can then sell within the regulated price. Are you not foreseeing a subsidy inside subsidy? If the private depots are landing at that amount and giving products to IPMAN subscribers at that amount, it means that there's a cost that they've already covered with that increase. If you slash it, who is going to further pay the subsidy on that amount to get it to the 148 that's supposed to leave depot at?
As you noticed, the issue of subsidy was presented before the House, and in the wisdom of the Finance Ministry, they made a projection only for 6 months, half of this budget calendar. And it is very sensitive. Any increase on the burden, it means that the subsidy will not even last up to the 6 months. So anybody expecting the government to subsidize further on what we have subsidized that runs into trillions, it's living in fool's paradise. The truth is that is not going to happen. We believe that the government has done what it's supposed to do in view of our economic realities, and to go on subsidizing on top of the subsidy that we have at the moment, I don't think it's something that the House will be able to go ahead with if it's presented. But having said that, when we call them in 7 days, these are some of the issues they will present to us. If they are cogent reasons, we will look at that. But if they remain as flimsy as all the excuses they've given to us before now, definitely speaking, the House is not going to be on their side. The House will be on the side of Nigeria.
Honorable, please, I hear the conversation at the House of Representatives, and I see the body language of, from my own perspective, let us not look like we are not responding to the crisis without actually dealing with the root of the crisis. That's the way, personally, I see it. You can prove me wrong. But we all know, whether we like it or not, we are going to remove subsidy. This is an election game. It is a countdown to election and handover. Then it's the next person's problem, how they want to deal with the crisis of when the subsidy goes. Why is the House of Representatives not talking to the people in a way like shows you understand the reality? Whether you remove it now, you remove it in 6 months' time, you will remove the subsidy. Price of petrol will go up. We are going to deal with that reality. What are the other things that can be put in place in the budget now to ensure that when that happens, all of the things will not go into crisis? That, for me, would be a more realistic approach to solve the problem that would happen then. Whether we do 7 months ultimatum now, it still won't make any difference. In 6 months' time, 7 months' time maximum, subsidies out, we'll be paying a lot of money for petrol.
The budget planning and economic planning, they are not based on sentiment. They are based on economic reality.
Okay.
They are not based on wishes of people that goes up and down. They are based on fundamental analysis of economic indicators carried out by those who are charged with that responsibility. And we don't just wake up and increase subsidy or reduce subsidy. They are done based on information, data collected by the economic experts. And like I mentioned, we have made a projection that was approved by the House. If there's any reason for it to be increased or reduced, it will be presented to the House.
Okay.
Not because somebody said so. The money we have spent so far on subsidy is enough. And I said, the intelligence reports revealed, and which was confirmed by the president of AITMAN, that there is availability of products. So the president of this country, the government of this country, has made products available in the various depots.
All right, let me go on a break, sir.
If the marketers are trying to sabotage the economy, there is a space for it. Economic sabotage is a crime. And that is what we are going to be looking at. If there's anybody somewhere that is trying to project this unregulated pricing, while some stations are selling at a regulated price, others are selling at the unregulated price. So, I mean, who is behind it?
We still have with us Honorable Benjamin Kalu, who is discussing the NNPC ultimatum to get to NNPC for 7 days. We'll put that on hold for a second because I feel that there are different issues that are being raised right now. But the other issue I'd like to ask you, Honorable, before you leave, is about this recent CBN 100,000 naira limits per week for individuals and I think 500,000 for companies. What's the National Assembly's take on that? Because I hear that you're still discussing it and there's not been a real directive from the National Assembly. What's your position on this for now?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. It must be made clear that the legislative arm and the executive arm, we are pursuing one national objective, which is nation building, which we believe is a joint task. And when we take position, we don't take position because we want to assume a position that is acrimonious or rancorous, with the position of or the position of the executive. We are looking at the provisions of our laws, especially section, I think it's section 8, subsection 4, and subsection 5 of the CBN Act 2007. Which has some provisions that periodically the CBN governor ought to interact with the National Assembly to brief the National Assembly on issues bordering on, effort is making, the activities and the plans of the board, especially with concern with regards to monetary policy. And this is one of them, you know, and we summoned the Committee on Banking and Currency, and we asked whether or not these particular provisions of the extant law has been complied with. And they answered in affirmative that it has not been complied with. They said no, it has not been complied with. And we asked why. Because we are seeing policies upon policies coming out, policies upon policies being churned out by the CBN. And the Parliament is actually, you know, not aware of the reasons behind some of those policies. Many have argued that they are independent, they can do what they want to do, and there should not be any interference. But there is a law establishing CBN under the CBN Act 2007. We noticed it has not been complied with. So we are inviting him. Today is actually supposed to be the day he's supposed to sit with us and explain to us the reasons behind these policies. But many have argued as well that the issue of withdrawal limits infringes on the provisions of, I think it's Section 2 of the Money Laundering Act of 2022, which says 5 million for individuals, 10 million for corporate organizations. So which means if you are going to bring out a policy that infringes on the extant law, you have to amend that law first.
Right.
So that is one of the things we need to sit down and discuss with him.
Right.
Many have also argued that the right to property as allowed by Section 44 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has been also infringed by this policy, as argued by our own very own Falana and so many erudite scholars.
Right.
So these are some of the things we sit down with them to know what informed this, if it's in line with the law, instant laws, and how do we go about it.
All right, we'll wait for that conversation you're going to be having with the CBN governor, and hopefully Nigerians can know exactly what the way forward is concerning this policy, because many people are really concerned about the effects of the policy on the Nigerian economy.